For this example, we have created one user with a password inside of our Laravel database, and we have created one requests file that we'll use to test the Sanctum authentication. So, for example, the first request will grab a cross-site request forgery cookie that is needed to be taken only once to start populating the other HTTP-only cookie. Let's send this request, and as you can see, we have this XSRF token, and we are capturing it into this variable cross-site request forgery cookie. Now, in order to perform login requests, we have the Sanctum already created for us API login resource, and we are passing the XML HTTP request header as well as the response header set cookie information taken from this cookie. We're passing it as XSRF token, and the payload is the username and the password. So when we have formed this request, we can send it, and we see that we are successfully logged in. Keep in mind that the cookie ensures stateful authentication. This means that it will produce inside of the server and automatically will be transferred via the browser HTTP protocol. This allows us to send requests that are designated towards protected routes using this cookie. If I click on send request, we see that we have access and we are listing our routes, because otherwise, if we log out right now, which actually resets the cookie and stops the session, if we again try to send a request, we see that we are not authenticated. Laravel offers also another approach using tokens. The difference is that this one is stateless, so whoever has the token can log in the system from various devices. But the mechanism of generation of this token is different, which makes the cookie-based approach nice and secure for applications which are residing both the front end and the back end on the server. Now let's see how we can install Sanctum and which files to change in order to ensure this functionality. From the documentation on Laravel Sanctum, we can see from the installation this command php artisan install API. We are using SPI Authentication, where it provides us with information on how we can set it up. So we have created one new controller, Auth controller, which handles our login requests, where we have inside validation over the email and the password fields. And since we are not using token-based authentication, the session-based one is trying to attempt to log in the user and recreate a session inside of our server, and then we are sending information about the user as a JSON response. As a fallback, if we don't have anything sent in the request as a user, we are just giving 401 authenticated to the request party. The next change is made inside of app.php, where we're adding additional middleware for using start session and stateful APIs. And then we touched our course PHP file. So this is our course config. Of course, for more strict applications, you should restrict the origins as well as the methods here. We're allowing certain paths to be used. And the most important is to allow this flag of support credentials, which enables the HTTP-only cookie to be transferred between the server side and the client side. For the routes that we would like to protect, we are just wrapping them into a middleware Auth Sanctum, and they can be accessible via /API/ the name of the resource or the route. Of course, don't forget when making changes over the course file to publish it. So those configurations, as well as when we are making changes to the routes, make sure to clear up the cache of the routes. And that's it. Okay, let's take this one step further, where we'll be adding also authorization. So we create one provider, which is called App Service Provider. Inside of the providers, what we need to do is to define a gate function. And here we'll be defining a gate for the update user. This is the name of the gate. And we would like to pass to it two parameters, which is the current authenticated user that is performing the request, as well as which user we would like to update. and we are just checking whether the user can update itself or the user is admin. For the user is admin, we have added one admin user, and also to all the tables we have added one is admin column. You can do this with a simple migration. So when you do PHP artisan migrate, the column will be shown, and then inside of the requests we have user update request, in which apart from the rules that are set for the name and email to have values, we use the gate. So we're using the predefined gate, and as a second parameter we're passing all the user information that is sent from the route. So if we are updating user with the ID of 15, we'll be passing all the information of this user to the gate. The gate also, we're using it inside of the controller, so we are not allowing the update function to be performed unless the gate passes. Using Postman, we can test our functionality. So first, let's grab our cross-site request forgery cookie. So this is our main URL, localhost sanctum, and as a parameters, we're passing x requested with and content type. When we send the request, we see as a response, we're receiving 2 cookies from the Laravel part. Now we'll use those cookies for the consequent requests. For the login, inside of the body, we'll send as a role the email and the password of the newly created admin user. We'll send it, and we see method not allowed because we need to use the posts method. Now we need to change not to text but to JSON. The payload, again, we sent. This time the status is 200, and we receive successfully logged in. All right. Now when we are logged in, we should be able to test the update or put request. So we're trying to update user with the ID of 15. For the put request, we'll send the parameters directly inside of the query. So let's compose the request. For the name, we'll write updated user and then updated email. And don't forget in the headers to add at the end x requested with in order to transfer back the cookie. So let's click on send, and we see correct response 200. OK. And if we go to the users and refresh, we see that the user 15 is updated with our data. This means that the request has passed correctly. If we create a new request towards the logout route, and again from the headers we set x requested with, and let's click, and of course we need to run post request. Now we are logged out. Now if we retry the same update request, we should be able to see unauthenticated. Now let's try to log in as an ordinary user. And what we see that we are successfully logged in. And let's try to perform an update, which is for another user ID. So if I click on send right now, we see that the gate is working and we receive this action is unauthorized, and we are receiving also 403 forbidden response. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the content, you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you.